So the first question is, how is the box sealed to the wall and how reliable is the sealing?
Yeah, in my cases, I used I used the proper bars to set the box exactly where I want. So I use a clamp and proper bars to put at the good height, let's say, and then I used tapes, painting tapes, to seal with the wall. And between each test, I used the smoke detector to check the quality of my sealing to ensure that I have no problem there. But I tested sometimes just removing one part of the tapes, and it has a very large impact on the results. So a proper check of the sealing of the box should always be done. In my case, I use smoke detectors because I find it the most convenient, but it can even be a hand check of the leakage. But these will have a large impact on the results.
So in your case, it was reliable, and it does need to be reliable because it has a large impact, right?
Yeah, it has to. Yeah, we really have to look at that aspect.
Okay. What types of leaks that can be measured by this method? Example, is it easy to measure the leak of full door? I think you said a few about that. And how much space is needed around the door windows to perform such a test?
That's obviously a disadvantage of the method is that depending on the leak, we'll have to build a different pressure chamber. In this case, I used quite a simple component, electrical penetration and the window, but to measure other components, we have to build other type of pressure chamber, and we have to be very imaginative sometimes. So this is this can be sometimes difficult. So this is about the leaks that can be measured. For example, if you want to measure a junction, you will have to create a box but with two faces open and not only one. And so this can be sometimes more difficult. And for the space needed, I use let's say, I think 2 or 3 square, four or 6 square meters in front of the door. There is one thing that should be paid attention to is the fact that the fan should not be just close to the manometer, because you will have the fan, the airflow around the fan that can impact your result if you're too close. But I don't think it takes too much space to do the intervention. But still, you have to manage with, if you are working in an apartment, for example, you have to manage the space with other workers in that place.
Okay. Third question is again back on the back leakage. The measured back leakage is probably below the measurement range of the used measurement device. Was this taken into account?
Yeah, in fact, when I did the back leakage, the background leakage measurement, I was only able to measure the point at 80, 90, and 100 pressure differences. So even I hadn't measurement at 50 Pascal, and I tried to find the value at 50 Pascal, but to interpolate it, because it was quite complex, and so I think my value of background leakage even overestimates the real background leakage, and so I try to take it into account at each measurement step using an interpolation of the results I had, but this is not really exact, I would say, but it has not huge impact on the result, except when we measure really, really small leakages, of course. But the question is then, is it really highly useful to measure a leakage of 0.2 cubic meters per hour? But
Yeah.
it's difficult to take this into account really exactly.
Yes, the objective is more to focus on the big leakage and point them out and find the very small one. In building, at least, can be different in other purpose. Okay, and we have a last question, which is how the types of leaks that you cannot, that you cannot be measured with this method.
What I usually talk about indirect leaks. So if there are leaks that are not directly from inside to outside. For example, in wood construction, you can have leaks that flows around and goes out elsewhere. These are sometimes leaks. I think this method could never be used to test these leaks because you have to have access to the leak itself, and this is not always the case. Another example is if one leak is too close to another, and so you have to build a pressure chamber, but the pressure chambers still have to have a minimum size to include the measuring device. So this can also be the type of leaks that cannot be measured. As I said, for junction, for example, between wall and roof, this will be much more difficult than I did in my experiments, but I still think it could be done. It depends on the construction, the types of construction, if it's wood construction or heavy construction, etc. But these are leaks that could be measured, but more difficult to set up than what I've done here.
Okay, so you need direct leaks to really be able to use this method. Okay, we have no other question for now, so I think we can move to the next presentation from Benedikt. Thank you again, Martin.
Thank you.